new Spyro footage just dropped, and there's some details that I want to talk about. What's up, guys? Canadian Guy here, and yeah, I can't predict what Toys for Bob is doing anymore. I thought that we would get some footage of RIptos Rage after the San Diego Comic-Con, after the assumed fact that they would show off a trailer of RIptos Rage then. But out of the clear blue sky, we got the biggest gameplay drop yet for this trilogy. 12 minutes of idle springs. I posted the 12 minutes already, so if you haven't seen it already, go check it out. So I'm not going to go through this video and state the obvious facts. I'm going to go through and point out some of the little details that I noticed that you may not, both good and bad. Now I'm going to preface this that when I was watching the footage, I was squealing like a little girl. I was so excited and I basically love every bit of this level, but I will be pointing out some little insignificant details that are minor that I think could be taken as if I'm trying to find something wrong with the game and rip it apart. I'm not. I'm just pointing out details that I noticed that are both positive and negative. Toys for Bob seems to make sure that they listen to its fans, so that's why I'm going to point out everything, because they may not be done on some aspects, but it might be the direction that they wanted to go. And we need to respectfully, key word here, respectfully state our opinions on things that we like and what we don't like. So let's get right into it. So I want to get a big thing out of the way. So the game is looking amazingly polished and well put together. However, I did notice some small issues when it comes to the animation of some of the characters. I feel as though their animation cycle have not been 100% smoothed out. For example, Zoe's idle animation has some popping along with others. Like I mentioned, guys, this is very minor stuff. However, the reason why I'm pointing it out is because this shows that this is not the final build of the game. So for those who think that this is the final game footage for the whole game, it still has quite a bit of time to go through a smooth out stage. This is still considered beta. Even though it's an incredible beta, it's still beta. So that means things can still be changed. Next thing I want to point out is the new idle animation. We originally only had the head turn and the eyebrow raise, but now we have the cat-like grooming animation with a cat stretch that literally has every person swooning over it, including me. The next thing I want to point out is something that I noticed with the gem counter. So every time we have seen the gem counter, it's been different colors, from a pinky red to green and now blue. There was something else that I noticed, and it was the color of the names of the builders and the glowing colors behind the text box match the same color as the gem. I am curious to think the color of the gem changes for a specific reason, and the chat bubble mimics the color of the gem. Perhaps the color of the gem changes when you go to a different homeworld and all the levels within that homeworld have the same color aspect? Who knows? While we are here, I wanted to point out the text box. I think it has too much going on. We got a moving gradient background, a very swirly font as the text, and a different font for the name of the character, and I think it all just really clashes. I think if it was a bit more simplified, it would help with the clarity. Perhaps just one type of font, and reduce the opacity of the background of the text a little bit would do the trick. Also, the font here is a touch too swirly in my opinion. It's still easy to read, but I think the swirls could be toned down just a little bit. The baskets here, compared to the original, is like a wicker and ceramic combo that I actually really like. They're unique, but still holds to their original look. But while we were talking about the new ceramic baskets, the vases here for some reason are not quite hitting it for me. I think the stripes need to be a bit darker blue. I like the metal refraction that was not quite in the original, but I think the stripes just need to be a bit more defined. I also love the sound of the gems now. They're not quite as loud as the original second or third games, but I still find the magical chime to them really satisfying. Another thing that I think that they changed, which I feel was heard from the community, was the gem counter. It's still not the roulette style, however they did change it to count up instead of the numbers just jumping to the total amount immediately, which is a nice change that I can be on board with. Now another small detail that I just wanted to point out is how hilarious it is that the mini tikis are using a barbecue lid as their shield. Like, it's perfect. It could not be any more of a perfect choice of shielding in this level. Great idea, Toys for Bob. Another small detail that I noticed is the autosave feature. When you get zapped by Zoe or Star's specific challenge, you see this blue shadowed Spyro running animation in the bottom right corner to signal that the game is autosaving your progress, which is of course a perfect modern update to the game. While on the topic of Zoe, I just want to say that I love her design and her new dress. She now looks like a wood nymph and is adorable. Now, she was inside each time we saw her, but she might be a bit too dark and maybe too much brown. It's a bit hard to tell, but I think even in the shadows her dress is not quite yellow enough. But a minor boost in the yellow would make it perfect. Now the ending scene where you see the Hula Girl Stella seems really fast. There's no cloud, no lightning, and no rain. But like I said before, this is not a complete build. I think simply the cloud and lightning are not in the game yet, simply because they're not created yet. I'm sure it's being worked on as we speak, so don't worry. Now I have 3 concerns that a lot of people have been commenting about in my comment section and on Twitter. The first being the fact that the sides of the level are incredibly tall, like much taller than the original. This is a problem for some because it blocks out the skybox, which also a lot of people were asking to be changed to look more like the original. Personally for me, however, I love it the way it is, but I think I can give an explanation as to why they have it look like this. They changed the environment to seem like you're in a mountain, and since the level is called Idle Springs, it would seem that they made the area a mountain spring on top of a mountain, which makes sense of the skybox being changed. The next concern is the swimming. Some people are saying it's a bit off and stiff. More specifically, the charging underwater doesn't seem smooth enough for people, and I can see why some people are bothered by it. Now of course, again, this is not the final build. We still should just point it out just in case, however, this is the direction that they wanted to go and we want it changed. The last thing I want to cover, which I think is the biggest outcry, is the orb. The orb animation is just over the top for me. The light going off is like a nuclear bomb, and then the orb simply floats there for just a short amount of time before it disappears.
What the
It may not be final, but I'm not 100% fond of the direction that they're taking it at the moment. I think this could be improved by greatly reducing the light. The orb shows up, bounces in place a few times to get that nice sound effect, and then disappears with a glittery particle effect. Once again guys, I love almost every aspect of this level, but if there are concerns, they have to be voiced, and they have to be voiced early so that there's enough time to fix them. If there's any complaints or critiques, throw them in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching. Cue the extra.